Following arguably Phillip Brooks' worst game as a Florida Gator against the Vanderbilt Commodores, Florida went back to SEC play against South Carolina, where Brooks has struggled to win games, but he needed to help the Gators win one or two games so that they could go to a bowl game. Coming into the season, Brooks had high expectations, and the Gators looked like they were primed for a big run this year. But after struggling in SEC games and going 3-3 in their first 6 games, and now many people are questioning Phillip Brooks and whether he is the right starting quarterback for this team and if he can bring the Florida Gators back to the top of the SEC conference. With only 3 games left in the regular season, Brooks and the Gators need to get at least 1 or 2 more wins if they're to see a postseason bowl game. But none of these games are going to be easy. They have 2 tough SEC matchups before they play Florida State in a very pivotal rivalry game to finish the season. The Gators hung with South Carolina for a majority of this game. Down by 7, Brooks tried to bring the Gators back, with a turnover on one drive, and the following drive getting mauled by South Carolina defenders. And so for another game, Florida's offense struggled to score points. The Florida offense, which is usually full of some of the fastest players in college football, some of the most talented players, and now with one of the most highest rated quarterbacks in the entire NCAA, but just has trouble showing up on Saturdays to play. Florida would once again lose this matchup after a Brooks interception sealed the victory for South Carolina 17-7, and the struggles continued yet again. The Auburn Tigers were next on the schedule, the last SEC game of the season for Florida. They wanted to go out, get a victory after many disappointing defeats this year, and with their highest rated team they've beat this year being the Kentucky Wildcats, the Gators find themselves just above Vanderbilt in the SEC standings, a place they have not seen in many years. Florida came in with a lot of intensity against the 5th-ranked Auburn Tigers, one of their SEC rivals. Florida desperately wanted to get a win here so they could clinch a bowl appearance. Brooks came out a lot better than he did against a lot of other teams this year, so it was good to see Brooks come out with a little bit of fire and intensity against the 5th-ranked team as he struggles against high-ranked teams and his conference rivals. Florida came out to a 7-0 lead, but Auburn quickly tied it up, and then they found themselves deadlocked at 14-14 midway through the third quarter, with Florida looking to take the lead. Brooks would scramble out of the pocket on this play right here, make a beautiful pass to his receiver, who gets a nice block. It would cruise all the way to the end zone, but the extra point would be missed. Would that come back to haunt Florida? Auburn would answer Florida with a touchdown of their own and make the extra point, making this a 1-point game, and now Florida just needs a field goal to take the lead and win this game and knock off number 5 ranked Auburn, what would be a major upset. Brooks would attempt to lead the Gators down the field, getting a first down across midfield, getting them close to field goal range. He finds a 2nd and 5 pass tipped away by an Auburn defender. On 3rd and 5, tries to find an open receiver, but his receiver just didn't see the pass that was thrown to him, so they have to go for it on 4th down. In a very pivotal moment in the game, the ball is knocked away from the receiver. Auburn would hang on, punch out the clock, and they would win this ball game by 1 point, a heartbreaker for Florida fans. Lost by an extra point, but no excuses. They could not answer back with a field goal, so that would bring it to the last game of the season, the 5-6 Florida Gators against rival Florida State University. If Florida didn't win this game, they would have one of their first losing seasons in many years. But Florida State's defense came out hungry against the young quarterback. Florida State's defensive line won the battle in the trenches and was causing havoc all day for Brooks. Brooks would try to answer to Florida State's early lead, trying to lead him down the field. On 3rd and 6, Brooks tries to find his receiver, and a cornerback just steps in front of the pass. Another interception by Phillip Brooks. And the mistakes seem to get to Phillip Brooks as the rest of the day did not go well for the young quarterback. He set a career high in fumbles and had one of his most disgraceful performances as a Gator to conclude his sophomore season. Florida State would go on to win by a wide margin, but concluding the game, Phillip Brooks requested an interview so he could address his teammates and the Florida Gators organization. We have that audio and we want to share that with you right now.
I would like to begin this by apologizing to the entire Florida Gators family To all my coaches, my teammates, the organization itself, and the fans, I am sorry for my words I said many weeks ago and for my actions this season. I was wrong to point fingers at my teammates when I myself was the main reason for our dismal performance this season. I have learned a lot this season, perhaps the biggest thing being that I cannot do this by myself. I need every guy in the locker room back there to help me. There's no way you can do this alone. I played this season very selfishly. I disrespected my teammates. I disrespected my coaches. And I'd like to apologize for all the fans that had to come out on Saturday and watch me play that way. I would also like to apologize to my family and, most importantly, my dad. He did not raise me to be this type of a man or this type of football player. And I promise not to let him down again. I also would like to promise that next year you will see a brand new Phillip Brooks. You will not see me disrespect anybody, and I'm going to be a team player and not put myself before anybody else. I am not bigger than the Florida Gators. Next season, I want to help bring the Florida Gators back to the top of the SEC Conference. I want this past season to be a distant memory going forward into 2013. I would like to conclude this by saying that I have 2 years left on my eligibility here at Florida. But if I can't help bring this team back next season, then I'm not going to make you guys sit through a fourth.